finished with 42 points. Yes, I said that right. Manchester United. Manchester United finished with 42 points. Yo, you guys, what is up, man? Welcome back to Real United Talk, where we talk about all matters Real Madrid and Man United. So, this is going to be a United Matters episode. There's just so much going on with United, you just have to break things down. And yes, the season is officially over. Thank God, the nightmare is done and I can finally rest. Like, bro, I haven't been able to sleep well every time that United play. Every time I think about United playing the next day, I have anxiety. I have the bro, like literally, and when they play, I have depression. And the season is finally done. And as much as it was a terrible season, I'm just so happy it's over, man. I'm so happy. Like disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Like it's just like I don't even know where to start when I'm talking about United. Like and it's just been so hard, not even to just watch United, but to watch football in general. Like my brother used to tell me something. He told me that like he doesn't watch football as much anymore because like United is struggling. And like last season, the season before that, I used to think like, oh wow, like I can't do that because like as much as I'm a United fan, I'm a football fan in general, so I'm always going to be watching football. But I can't lie, this season I kind of understood, man. This season I haven't been as locked in as I usually am. So like I'm usually like locked into everything that is going on. But like this season I just couldn't be as locked in. Like imagine like United play, right? And then we lose. And then Aston Villa and Brighton are playing the next game. How do you expect me to go and watch Aston Villa versus Brighton when Man United just lost? Like, do you get what I'm saying? So like I don't know, man. It was just so hard to watch United this season. But yeah, the season is officially done. Um we won our last game of the season, Premier League game, which obviously doesn't do anything for us. Like it wasn't even a needed win or anything, especially after the game, which we don't talk about. We don't even see the name. But yeah, at least we won the last game of the season. It got us up by like one or two. I think we finished 15th. But yeah, I don't know. That didn't really do much for us. But at the same time, maybe like it's good to end the season on a win, regardless. Like regardless of everything that's happening, it's just good to go out with a win. I don't know what that would do for us, but like it's good to go out with a win. And Aston Villa lost out on Champions League football. Aston Villa are not really our rivals or anything, so like it doesn't really do anything for us, like United fans or anybody in general, because like they're not really our rivals. They might do things for like their rivals. I'm not really sure who Aston Villa rivals are, but like it might do stuff for their rivals, but not us. But like I mean, like a win is a win at the end of the day. We finished 15th on the table, but we finished with 42 points. Yes, I said that right. Manchester United. Manchester United finished with 42 points. We had more losses than wins. We had 11 wins and 18 loss. 18 losses. We had what, nine draws? Nine draws. Like, oh my God, like we just drop points upon drop points upon like as you can see, talking about this is hard, like I only talk about this with like one or two friends. Like I don't really talk about Man United too much. I try my best not to talk about Man United too much because it's too much of a depressing topic. But that's why we're here. We're here to talk about all matters United. United matters. So let's just get into it. Let's go. So this episode, I'm going to be categorizing players into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Although in United's case is the ugly, the bad, and the just okay. So yeah, I'm going to be putting players in brackets. So the players who have performed and players who kind of performed and players who couldn't perform. And it's going to be like under the Amorim regime, based on like Amorim was our main manager this season. Like obviously Ten Hag started the season, but like he wasn't there for too long. Amorim is like the main thing that happened this season, right? So like it's good to be under Amorim. The players that kind of like performed under him, players that didn't perform so well, and like the players that like just did okay. Maybe they came back from like a bad situation or something like that. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about all of that, and you know obviously, I'm not going to talk about every single player because that's a long list and it's a long list of players that didn't play well. So I'm not going to be talking about every single player. But one of them is kind of interesting to see what will happen in the transfer window. So like yeah, let's just get straight into it before I continue yapping. So yeah, the first player I'm going to talk about is Diogo Dalot. And Dalot kind of fits in this like category of fullback. So like in my view, yeah, there's different kinds of fullbacks, right? So there's the fullbacks that they play in a back four and like they can only play in a back four. And then there's fullbacks who can only play wing back, so they can only play in a back three, whether the wing backs. And then there's fullbacks who can do both. There's fullbacks who can do the back three and the back four. There's also fullbacks, who are okay in regardless. Like there's actually one or two fullbacks. Like it's a rare sight where like there's one or two fullbacks who are okay in like left center back or right center back in a back three and still okay in like the back four. But like based on how rare that is, I'll just leave it to these three. But yeah, in my opinion, Dalo kind of fits in the, only can only play in a back four bracket. I don't think Dalo is that good in a back three, honestly, because like I don't think he's that good as a wing back. Like Dalo has never been the best attacker. Dalo has never been the best crosser, and then like like as much as like he can maintain the weight to an extent, like like just like that's not his game, right? That's not his game, and then he's not good enough in defending, or like he's not good enough on the ball to play in the back three, so he's not good enough to take up that right center back to the same way Mazurari does. So like I just think he's one of those players that fits in that like kind of like cooked category in this situation, just because like I think his main thing is like a back four, even a back four is like iffy and everything, but like if he's not a back four, don't call him to the party, that type of thing. So yeah, and when Amorim came in, obviously he brought his 3-4-3 formation, or his 3-4-2-1, whatever it is. And then if you guys remember, Dalo actually started in left wing back. Like Dalo was playing left wing back, and I think Ahmad, like I know the first game of the season, Ahmad played in right wing back against Ipswich, the one where he gave the assist to Rashford. So I do remember that. But yeah, Dalot did start off in the left wing back, and that one was actually just like a struggle for him, because like not only can he barely play wing back on his own, he now got put in left wing back. And the thing about that left wing back is that like he had to do things like he had to be cutting back on his right foot and everything. It was hard for him to maintain the weight based on like he was wanted to go on his preferred foot. But like if you guys actually watch United a lot, you actually notice that like when Garnacho and Dalo played together, there was kind of like a switch going on, because like Garnacho is like a wide winger. Garnacho is someone we talk about, but like yeah, let's just talk about him a bit now. Garnacho is like a wide winger, right? So like he prefers like Garnacho likes to hold the weight, he likes to run into space and everything. And in this Amorim system, he doesn't really get to do that often. He doesn't get to do that as much as he would like. So like when the whole Garnacho Dalo thing was going on, like Garnacho in left wing or left cam or whatever it is, and Dalo in left wing back, I think that there was a whole thing going on where Garnacho kind of like maintains the weight, and then Dalo kind of like inverts so that he can be more comfortable. He can use his right leg and everything. He doesn't have to like always like have to cut back and everything. But like the difference is that like Garnacho wouldn't now have like the defensive responsibilities that Dalo still has. So like he's not like obviously as much as he expects to like work hard and track back, like the defending is not his responsibility, it's still Dalo's responsibility. So there's just like a whole switch going on, and you could kind of see the kind of like adaptation that was going to happen, or that was trying to happen. And yeah, it was just a whole thing. But yeah, in general, like Dalo kind of like struggled to kind of like adapt to that role, especially at left wing back. But yeah, then at some point we signed Dogu, and things changed for him a bit. He went to right wing back, and then as much as like it didn't change like that much, like it wasn't like that much better. And at least it was a little better. At least like was like it became okay to watch him, because like I can't like when I was playing left wing back, it was so hard to watch. Like I was like every time the ball went to that side, I was like, oh my god, no. So yeah, it was so hard to watch. But like when we signed Dogu, I think things changed a bit. Like I don't know if you guys remember this start. Like this was a whole thing, but like there was a whole thing that like when Dalo and Mazraoui started in wing back together, we hadn't like United hadn't scored a goal. So like when they were playing at the same time, like Dalo in left wing back and Mazraoui in right wing back, like United hadn't scored a goal. That was a whole thing. I can't remember how long they lasted. I can't remember. Like I know obviously it came when Amorim came, but like I can't remember how long that lasted. But I know it was a whole thing that like anytime they were playing together in wing back, that like United hadn't scored. So that just tells you how we're struggling when those two were playing wing back, when Dalo was playing left wing back and everything. But yeah, we signed Dogu, and then like I said, Dalo went to right wing back, and like he looked a little better, but like in general I still think that he struggled a bit, and I don't know if he fully fits in that wing back role. The thing about it is that like I wouldn't completely mind keeping Dalo based on like he's a player that like I don't know how comfortable he will be sitting on the bench, but I can't imagine him complaining too much if he sits on the bench. Like not every single game, obviously. Like he's not gonna not play any of the 38 Premier League games or anything like that. Like he's going to play, but like he might be a good player to actually like bring up the bench. Like it's nice to have one or two of those players who like you can just bring off the bench at any time. And Dolly is like a decent player to have if like your main option is like injured or something. Like I wouldn't start Dalo. Like I think I've always said this. Like I don't trust Dalo to be my starter and everything. He can be my rotational player, but he can't be my starter. Like I just never trusted him to that extent. I just never thought that he was that high quality to put him in that. But like he's a good player to bring up the bench. He's a good player to like make up space and everything. The problem is that like United is going through this whole financial crisis that like I don't know how like I don't know how we're going to do with all these kinds of players. Like I don't know what the situation is going to be with Dalo. I don't know if like because like at the end of the day like he has been a starter for some time. So like based on his might not be a starter next season. Like, are we going to keep him? Are we going to sell him for like someone that will take less wages? Like, it's just a whole thing, right? Like, I wouldn't mind anyone with, honestly, like, I wouldn't mind selling him, but I also wouldn't mind keeping him as long as he's not my starter. You get me? So yeah, Dalo is one that like unfortunately I think in this system he's kind of cooked because like I said, he can't really play wing back and he can't really play right center back at the same time. Left wing back he can't really play as well. So like he's someone that is kind of like going to struggle in this system. So it's just be interesting to see what happens with him in the transfer window. I haven't seen anything about him being listed or anything. I know everything that's going on right now is just rumors. I haven't seen anything about him being listed, so it will actually be interesting to see what happens with Dalo. Okay, and like I said earlier, the next one I'm going to talk about is Alejandro Garnacho. Yes, so Garnacho, and I'm just going to, before I talk about Garnacho, before it makes it look as if, like, I'm one of those guys that says that Garnacho was never that good or something, let me just get this clear. That Garnacho is a good player. Garnacho is a very good player. Garnacho is a good player and he has had a very decent season. Let me put it like that. Garnacho is a good player and he has had a very decent season. Garnacho has had a very decent season statistically. He has had a very decent season impact wise. And the reason why I'll say that because you guys are not even deep in that Garnacho is just 19. I don't know if he turned 20. I think it's 20 right now. I'm not sure. But like Garnacho is literally 19 or 20. And for the season that he has had statistically, impact wise, I think he has had a very decent season. The reason why it may look like he might not have a decent season, number one, is just because of the way that the media treats United and their players and everything. And number two, United is just going through so much right now that like if a player is not like looking world class and everything, which is none of our players, but like if a player is not, but like if a player is not like looking world class or anything, that like he's not being a good player. Like if a player is not carrying the team on his back, then he's not that good of a player. But Garnacho, like you can't really expect Garnacho to be carrying United on his back. Like yes, he's a good impact player and everything, but he's not going to single-handedly carry United on his back. Garnacho has had a very decent season. But like, we're going to talk about him and how he has fit in this system or whether he fits in the system and everything. But I just want to get that clear that I think that Garnacho is a very good player. I think he has a good career ahead of him. And I do think that he has had a decent season. I think he has been a decent player for United since he got promoted from the academy. But yes, let's talk about him right now. So, like I said earlier, Garnacho is a wide winger, and the thing about Amorim's system is that for those cam slots, he needs like inverted wing, like he needs those winger X cam kind of players um your Musialas, your Morgan Rogers, your Morgan Gibbs White, those kinds of players, those wingers X cam. And the thing about Garnacho is that he's just not that and that's not bad. Like that's not a problem because like that's the type of player he is. There's a lot of different kinds of players. There's a lot of different type of ways to play the game. There's a lot of different ways to be a winger. And Garnacho is a wide winger. He's a wide winger. He likes to run into space. He likes to maintain the width. That's what he likes to do. And unfortunately for him, his Amorim system doesn't really have space for that, which is why you saw Garnacho struggling a bit. I do think that he did well to kind of like adapt. Like I think he did well to kind of like adapt to it and become like I think he's actually started to look better later in the season. Than he did when he first when he first came like he looked as if like it wasn't working out for him. But I do think that he did a little better to like kind of like adapt to the situation and start playing a little better. But like at the end of the day, like he's the type of player that he is, and like I said, that's not bad. And he can adapt, he can't change. He's still a young player, so like you can't just put him in one particular bucket for all of his life. Like if he needs to adapt, he can adapt. But like he is what he is kind of thing. And there's a lot of rumors about him, like, potentially leaving United, especially what happened after the Europa League. I'm going to talk about that in the next episode. But yeah, there's just so much that's happened with him. There's just so much that's happening around him. And looks as if he's potentially going to leave. And I do think that if Garnacho does leave, I think that number one, he should definitely leave the Premier League, which like, it looks like that's what's gonna happen. And I think he'll be really good in like La Liga. I think he'll be good in Syria, but like I think La Liga will be like the best league for him. But like given that like unless it's Atletico, there's not that really that many options. Maybe Syria will be the best choice as well, but like maybe like in Napoli or something. But like yeah, I do think that Garnacho has a good career ahead of him if he leaves United, if he goes somewhere else. But like I do like Garnacho as a player, and I wouldn't mind keeping him whatsoever. But like if he leaves, he's also like okay, like it makes sense and everything. But yeah, Garnacho is just one that just hasn't really fits in this system. Like when it's like someone that like based on our financial situation might look to sell to get someone else that fits better in this system. The thing about it is just that like selling a player like Garnacho is so tough, especially like given like this whole Amorim thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because selling Garnacho, selling an academy player like Garnacho, just saying like a young academy player like Garnacho that has a decent future ahead of him and everything, it means that like you're 100% backing Amorim. And the thing about that is that I back Amorim, right? Like I back Amorim. I think he's a good manager. I think he has brought like as much as like there's a lot of calamity and everything going on. He has like it looks as if like he's trying to bring structure to the club and everything. And those type of things they take a lot of time, which is why like as much as like that in a bad season like it might be things for better signs ahead of that. It means that you're 100% back in Amorim, right? And the thing about that is that nobody knows what Amorim's situation is going to be next season. Nobody knows if he's going to get sacked next season. And the thing about that is that if you sack Amorim like mid-season or something, and then you ended up like selling Garnacho in like the summer window, like this coming summer window, but you sold, but then you sacked Amorim, and then the next manager comes in, and then like he can use like a Garnacho kind of like you get what I mean. Like, the way start signing a player to replace that. Like it's not every manager that plays Amorim style. It's not every manager that requires Wenger calm. Some managers like those like wild Wenger like to maintain the weight. And then it's just like a whole thing. But like what I'm basically trying to say is that like selling Garnacho means that you have decided to 100% back Amorim. And as much as I back Amorim, like we don't know what the situation is going to be next season. And then I think that sending a player like Garnacho, as much as like it can generate revenue, as much as like it might be good, because like it's from the academy and everything, I do think that like the best option might be a loan. I would like the money, like if we sold him, then it's fine. We'll get some money for him and everything. We can sign a replacement. But like I do think that a loan, just based on like we don't know what's going to happen with Amorim next season, I think that a loan might be the best option for him. But this isn't a transfer window episode. This is categorizing episode. This is trying to put players into these brackets. So I think that in that category, I think I'll put Garnacho in the bad section, like in that category, just because like he doesn't necessarily like his play style doesn't necessarily fit Amorim's system. I would put him in the just okay section, just based on everything I've said about him, but like objective and everything. But the next player on my list is Joshua Zexi. Now Zexi's situation is a whole thing, just because like he's new, so like we just signed him, right? So like no, like this isn't only just like how he has fit under Amorim. This is how he has fit in United in general. Because whether it was Ten Hag or Amorim or anything, like Sexy has kind of like struggled to adapt, or at least for some time he was struggling to adapt. Because after that debut goal against Fulham, he's just kind of like struggled to like get on the goals. He kind of like struggled to like get an impact and everything. And he has had some lows. I mean, like that Newcastle game was like the lowest of the low. Like it doesn't get any lower than that. He literally got booed off by his own fans when he was getting subbed off. He got subbed off in the first half, and then he got booed off by his own fans. Like that's just honestly so sad to see. And that was like the lowest of the low. And then from there, it just looked like there was no future at United for Zexi. Like we're going to look to sell him early. I don't know if that was before January, but like it looked as if like the next time we had the opportunity, we're going to sell Zexi or even cheaper than we got him. And this one that just got young player of the season in the Serie A. So it was just so sad to see someone like that struggle in United, and doesn't help our reputation being like the team that destroys talent. But Zexi since then has been born again. Like he has become a new man. Like since then, like the mentality that this guy has shown to actually like step up is actually so crazy. Like obviously in this Amorim system, I've seen him play in the calm, I've seen him play in strike. And I do think that he has played a lot better in that calm. I think that calm suits him more just and then that's based on like the players around him, because I think that Zexi is someone that really feeds up the kind of players around him, because Zexi, as we all know, is like that 9.5. Like I know obviously people hate hearing that and everything, but like he's like a 9. He's like a Firmino kind of player, and Firmino had Salah and Mane next to him, so Firmino could do his thing of like dropping deeper and everything, and then Salah and Mane go like ahead of him out wide and everything. And that's the type of player that Zexi is. He likes link up play. He likes players going ahead of him. Obviously, he likes getting into the box every now and then, but I think he's more of like a late runner into the box, like not the first man into the box and everything, just like your traditional number 9. And I do think that he feeds up the players around him. He feeds up that link up play and everything. And that's what we get to see. Like, because based on the players around him, he doesn't really get to do that as much. Like, he doesn't get to not be in the box all the time when he's playing strike. So I think that when he's playing strike, he's a little limited in this system, at least with the players that he has right now around him. Maybe Bruno or Ahmad, he's a bit limited. But I do think that based on the business that United do in the summer this window, it will be interesting to see what happens with him because I do think that if you get like decent players that like to go ahead, like to get into the box and everything, like to go ahead of that striker, I do think that he's someone that can fit that strike. But yeah, we did see him move to the camp and we did see him do a lot of stuff. I mean, we all know about the Zexidinho allegations, and even allegations at this point. At this point, like he's actually just like he's just that guy, bro. Like we saw the little nutmeg, we saw the link up play, we saw like exactly he's just such a good player in terms of like ball carrying. He's just such a good dribbler. He's such a like he's someone that like holds ball and knows when to release the ball kind of thing. And then that's something that Amorim actually needs from his camp. Like he just needs that player that can progress the ball. He needs good dribblers. He needs people that are good in tight situations. That's actually honestly. I do think that like I said, based on the type of players that we get in the window, I would like to see him in the strike as well. I've seen him in the strike and we've seen the way he plays. So I would like to see him in the strike, but I do think that he fits very well in this camp. I think he can be a good rotational player to have, and I wouldn't want to lose Zexi in the summer kind of thing. So yeah, I think Zach is a very good player. I think he has been a good player for Amorim. Since that Newcastle game, he has really come up and he has had a few clutch moments. He has had a few beautiful moments. So yeah, exactly is someone that I'm going to put in the just okay section. Like I said, there's no good tier, but I do think that he fits in this Amorim system in the calm. And like I said, like given the business that we do in the summer, given the type of players that we're going to be playing next to him next season, it's going to be interesting to see what he ends up playing. But yeah, Zexi is a player that I like, and I think he's someone that has adapted well to this system. But yeah, that's the end of this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know this was like a long yap session and everything. But like there's just so much to talk about United, and I feel like I can talk about United for hours, which is why I try to wrap up the episode now and everything. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys again in the next episode. I hope you guys get to see me again as well. I'm trying to be consistent. I'm going to try and be consistent. No Madrid fans, don't worry, our time is coming. Like I said, there's just so much to talk about with United, but don't worry, our time is coming. But yeah, thank you guys again for tuning into the Real United Talk. See you soon.